Hello, everyone. Today is Wednesday, March 7th, 2018. My name is Brian McInerney. I'm the hydrologist with the National Weather Service out of Salt Lake City, Utah. This is the longer version of the March 2018 water supply forecast and hydrologic briefing. So let's take a look at the general weather pattern we just had last week. This is a rendition of the winds, roughly about 25,000 feet. The red area is the jet stream. Where the jet stream goes, the storm track goes. And you can see that yellow dot was Salt Lake City. And we had a really nice storm come through, and this was March 3rd that we saw this. The thing to note is that the high pressure got much smaller. This has been the dominant weather feature that has blocked all the storms. It got small. There was a low pressure up by British Columbia, and in between there, all that energy came through and produced 1 to 2 feet of snow. It's unfortunate that the high pressure hasn't been this much reduced all winter, but it's just roughly about the last couple of weeks that we've seen an increase in storm activity. So when you look at the precip anomaly, and what we'll do is we'll look at February, all those warm colors indicate below normal precip, roughly on the range of 50 to 70%. Some areas down in southern Utah and Arizona are 30 to 50%. Farther down by the border of Mexico and Arizona, less than 30%. You can see Colorado did a little better, Upper Green did a little better, but overall it was a grim month for snow. When you look at where it counts in the mountains, this is what you see. Somewhere in the range of 50 to 70%, with some areas 30 to 50% along the Uintas and in central Utah. So not a bright picture. When you think, okay, well, how was it from October through February? This is what you see. Some areas of southeastern Utah were in the 0 to 30% range with an absence of snow. And the farther north you go, it got a little better. The Upper Green was a little better. The headwaters in a very small area of the Colorado did better. But overall, the precip picture has been pretty glum due to that high pressure ridge that was parked over us really from November through early February, mid-February timeframe. When you look at the mountains, this is what you see. You can say, well, this is bad, but look down in Arizona. We're not nearly as bad as Arizona's been. They've had a really tough time because where that low is centered is right over Arizona and parts of southwestern parts of U.S. So not a good picture. When we look at temperatures and we look at February, not too bad compared to what we've seen. A good part of Utah was normal to a little cooler. Parts of the Uintas were warmer, about 5 to 7 degrees, but overall, not that massive heat that we experienced throughout November, December, and January. It was a little bit of nice. We actually improved the lower elevation snowpack. It stopped melting off with some of the storms that came through, but this was a nice touch. We'll take it. But when you look at the meteorological winter, where it really counts, December, January, February, this is what you see. Warmer than average, 1 to 3 degrees out in the West Desert, and areas of the Uintas about 5 to 7 degrees. And most of the West has been quite warm due to that high pressure just parking itself in early November. When you look at the weather outlook out to the 22nd of March, what we'll do is we'll start on March 2nd, and I showed this to the water users meeting at the Weather Service. Areas of darker brown indicate high pressure, the bluest storms. That storm went through, and then when you look at March 9th, moving through to the 10th, moving through to the 11th, what we see is high pressure ridging forecasted from this model. The 13th, the 14th, as far out as we can see, there's nothing of any big storms coming that we see. A little bit of something, maybe zonal flow out by the 19th, but that fades pretty quickly. Then we're out to zonal flow, things without much of anything, any dynamics, out to March 21st. When we ask what does that equate to in terms of precipitation, you look all the way out to the 21st and we see an absence of precip. So the third week of March, we don't anticipate anything from here on out, roughly from the 7th through the 21st, so the next 14 days. We can forecast weather 5 days with pretty good accuracy. 7 days, it gets a little foggy, and then it kind of falls apart. So understand, we are looking at model data. This is what it shows. This is what we see. This could change. This could change after like a 7-day period. We're hoping that's the case, but that's what we're looking at right now. When we look at snowpack throughout the state, snow water equivalent in inches of water on the y-axis, x-axis is time, blue line is average, red line is last year, Really nice year. Green line is this year. And we'll look at the Bear River drainage, and currently it's at 76% of median. So that's the high point. Then you look at the Weber, we're down to 58%, and you can see the line compared to average is just not keeping pace. We're losing ground all the time. Six Creeks at 60%. Again, that line, maybe had a little uptick at the end. The media came and asked if we were anywhere close to normal after our recent storm, and you can see how far away we are away to last year. Utah Lake drainage, 51%. And then Duchesne at 52% of median. When you look at the upper green, they're bang on average and median. They've just been following that line just like a mathematical probability of staying right with it. And that's the high point in this area. The upper green is doing really quite well. Lake Powell at 70%. That includes the green headwaters of the Colorado and then the lower green out by Schofield and Joe's Valley at 70%. And then you swing over to the Sevier at 55%. And then you look at our worst area, the Virgin. Areas of southern Utah will do much worse as far as precip and water supply as our months continue and years continue as we warm our climate, because high pressure is expected to be the dominant weather feature more and more. And we're seeing that since 1980. And that's going to cause problems for water supply in our central and southern areas. So let's take a look at water supply itself, and we'll look at maybe 2 to 3 points in each basin as kind of a sampling. And we'll look at Woodruff Narrows Reservoir to start, and then Stewart Dam. And what we'll do, look in that area right there. This is kind of a busy graph, but it gives you the thousands of acre feet or millions of acre feet if we're talking some of the bigger rivers, the percent of average and the percent of median. And then it gives you graphical format down there from January's forecast, February's forecast, March's forecast. And this comes from the Colorado Basin River Forecast Center. They're part of the National Weather Service in a big room together with us. And when you look at Woodruff Narrows Reservoir, 68% of average, 75% median, and 82,000 acre feet. When you look at Montpelier near Stewart Dam on the Bear River, 32% of average, 50% median, and 59,000 acre feet. And what you want to look at is that line on the bottom, that dotted line. We may get to the lowest this has ever seen. And that's something to keep an eye on as I roll through these, is that bottom dash line. That is the lowest observed. And in this case, it was 1934. We may get to some of these depending on the weather and here on out. Look at the Weber. We'll look at 3 points. Oakley, inflow into East Canyon, and then we'll look at Pineview. And we look at Oakley, 58% average, 59% median at 69,000 acre feet. Forecast is declining. For East Canyon inflow, 52% average, 54% median at 14,000 acre feet. And then at Pineview, 50% average, 57% median, it's 56,000 acre feet. Six Creeks, we'll look at 2 spots. The outflow at Little Cottonwood Canyon, and then City Creek. And Little Cottonwood at 61% average, 66% median at 23,000 acre feet. And City Creek at 56% average, 73% median, 4.3 thousand acre feet. And that forecast has been pretty similar all the way through. 2 points in Utah Lake, Woodland, Provo near Woodland, way up in the headwaters in the Uintas. And then we'll look at Spanish Fork. And for Woodland, 65% average, 64% median, 65,000 acre feet. And over into Spanish Fork River near Castilla, 36% average, 53% median, kind of hovering around that lowest we've ever seen. And that was only 2002, so pretty recent. On the Duchesne, we'll start with Strawberry. Look at the headwaters on the Duchesne near Tabiona, and then at Knight's Diversion. And what we see here are more low numbers, which is unfortunate. So when you think of inflow into Strawberry Reservoir, which is a massive reservoir, 28% of average, 42% median, 20,000 acre feet. And then Tabiona, which is a headwater area, 56% average, 64% median, 60,000 acre feet. And that forecast has been declining along with Knight's diversion, 59% average, 66% median, 114,000 acre feet. And then what we'll do is slide down into the Price River drainage, kind of on the lower green. Schofield Reservoir there, Joes Valley Reservoir there. And we look at these 2 points. Schofield at 36% average inflow expected, 43% median at 10.7 thousand acre feet. And then Joes Valley Reservoir on Sealy Creek, 43% average, 52% median, 24,000 acre feet. Pretty tough numbers. And then we'll move up to the upper green, which when you think of high pressure, it hits the high pressure off of the coast or off of the Pacific Ocean, goes up into Canada, and then slides down. If the high is retrograded westward, leaves the door open, and the upper green has been the beneficiary of that movement of the high farther west. And that's why these numbers are so much better. When you look at Green River near Green River, Wyoming, 116% of average, 134% median, and 845,000 acre feet. And that forecast has increased a little bit. And this area also did really well last year. So they're doing quite well. And as far as Flaming Gorge Reservoir, 96% average, 113% median, 940,000 acre feet. So Upper Green doing really well. Now we'll look at Lake Powell when you consider the green and then everything coming from Colorado. We'll start things that are coming out of Colorado at the Colorado near Cisco, and then the actual point at Lake Powell. And when you look at Cisco, 57% average, 64% median, 2.5 million acre feet. When you look at Lake Powell itself, 47% average, 53% median, 3.4 million acre feet, and the forecast has been roughly about the same. And then moving westward into the Sevier, we'll look at Hatch. And then we'll look at Paiute Reservoir to give you a sampling of what we have here. At Hatch, it's 40% average expected, 54% median, and 19.3 thousand acre feet. And then at Paiute Reservoir, 37% average, 51% median, at 24,000 acre feet. So pretty tough as you go farther down. And we could see the lowest we've ever seen on the Sevier at Paiute Reservoir this year, and that's a little tough to see. The Virgin, the headwater areas, and then the outlet down at Littlefield. And when you look at the Virgin, 47% average, 66% median at 27,000 acre feet, kind of getting close to that lowest we've ever seen, and that was 2002. Also on Littlefield at the outlet, 23% average, 40% median, 15.1 thousand acre feet. And most likely this will be the lowest we've ever seen at the outlet at the Virgin. And this goes back to 1934, and that's a tough one. So what does this all mean as far as drought? Here's what it looks like. Much worse than what it was last year. We even have some areas of extreme drought poking its head up in central southern Utah. But overall, most of the state is about moderate drought, with some areas with severe drought in the middle there. But this is a depressing picture because we were doing so well last year. But on the flip side, if you're gonna have a year like this, it's really good to have it in a year that we just had, when we had massive carryover from last year. It'll be okay water supply wise, but then next year is what we're going to pay the price for this low right there. So there you go. Brian McInerney, phone number, email. Let me know if I can do anything for you guys in the meantime. But that's what we have, and hopefully we'll see a little bit cooler, wetter weather moving through March and April into May, and we'll see how that shakes out. I'll do this again next month, and if you need anything, let me know in the interim. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this, and we'll talk to you again. See you.